Here.
Division 4, George Lane.
Here.
General Manager Nixon.
Here.
General Counsel Emily Medueno.
Here.
And Holly Hughes present.
Okay, moving on, item number 4, voluntary public roll call. Anybody that's not, with us in the audience, we'd always like to hear from you. Who's with us?
Good evening, this is Jack Cephas and White Fence Farms number 3, representing them.
Hey, Jack, welcome as usual. Glad you're with us.
Lisa O'Reilly, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Yeah, you're from where?
From Carpinteria.
Okay. Well, I bet it's a lot cooler there.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, okay. Do anyone else? Okay.
John, you can sit.
Hey, John. Welcome.
Hey, George.
Moving on, item number 5, public comments. If the item's not further on the agenda, now's the time to let us know your thoughts. Item number 6, adoption of agenda.
Mr. President, I'll move approval of agenda.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Miller seconds.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further comments or questions. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yes.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Moving on, item number 7, consent calendar. Just one item on that. It's the minutes of July 14th. So motion would be in order for that one also.
Mr. President, I'll move on 7A-1.1.
Director Miller, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second by
President.
Jay Tremblay.
Okay.
Okay, no further questions or comments? Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yes.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, moving right along, item number 8, new business. We have a presentation regarding our co-counsel regarding overview and amendment of the conflict of interest code.
Thank you, Mr.
I can
President.
turn it over to you, Emily.
Thank you, Mr. President. So AVEK last amended its conflict of interest code in 2022. Consistent with the Political Reform Act, AVEK's code identifies all officials and employees who participate in making governmental decisions. And it also identifies the financial interests that those officials and employees have to report. Amendment is required due to a change at the agency, such as renaming positions or adding a new position. And so we reviewed the conflict of interest code, and since 2022, AVEK has had some changes in its organizational structure. At page 14 of the agenda packet includes the organizational structure chart. Just a quick summary of the 4 changes to the conflict of interest code that we're proposing to make. It's adding the board secretary treasurer as a person who reports as part of assistance in the public investments. We also renamed the director of water resources. It's now referred to on the chart as the imported water supply director. The office manager is also now known as the human resources manager, and we've also added the assistant general counsel to the list. We've prepared the proposed amended conflict of interest code to reflect those changes, and I'll give you a short summary of the amendment process. It can be boiled down to 6 steps. The first we've already completed is preparing this proposed code. The next step is to send it to the Fair Political Practices Commission to have review of it and comment back to us. At that point, we would report back to the board with any feedback that we received from the commission. And at that point, if we needed to make changes to the code in light of those comments, we would do so. Then there would be a 45-day public comment period where the public and staff may comment on the proposed amendment. And we would also set a public hearing at that time for consideration by this board to adopt the proposed amended conflict of interest code. If that were to occur, then we would submit it to the Fair Political Practices Commission for its final approval, after which it would become AVEK's official amended code. So we've done the first step. Staff at this time is recommending that the board direct us to send this draft proposed amended code to the Fair Political Practices Commission for its review and comment, after which we will report back to you.
Okay, is there any comments from management?
No comments. This was information only this evening. We wanted to give an overview and presentation, and as long as the board is in concurrence with that direction that Emily mentioned.
Is this came before any committee?
It has not.
You know, all of a sudden this just sprang on the board without any discussion. And, you know, all of a sudden we have to simulate everything in a matter, a couple of minutes.
Yeah, there's no action tonight. This was just
I understand.
to present it.
Yeah.
There'll be another shot at the bite at the apple and bring this back for approval at some point.
Bring it back for discussion.
Fair enough.
Is the board comfortable with this process or?
Yeah, well, they're just gonna send it to the Fair Practice Committee now, right?
Yeah.
That's correct,
Yeah,
Director
and
Kaplan.
then the feedback after.
Yes.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
My opinion, there should have been a little bit more board involvement in this. But if the board's okay with it, we'll proceed to the next step.
What's Rob think?
I'm fine either way. You can run it by the personnel committee and legal committee. That would be easy to do. If that would make you feel good, George, and we could take a look at it.
What's your recommendation on?
I don't know what the timing is. Is there any timing issues on this?
So we do have 90 days to submit it to the commission, and that 90 days, it has started running. We're about 10 days in.
10 days in.
If it's okay with the board, let's have the personnel committee take a look at this.
Okay.
And usually in the past, we've always had some board involvement, and all of a sudden we're not.
Yeah, the personnel legal committee is the same committee, so that would be a good committee for us. Audrey chairs it, so I think that would be appropriate, and we could do that pretty quickly. And put it back on the agenda for the next meeting with a recommendation by the committee. Would that work for everyone?
I should be able to meet.
Good recommendation.
Bruce on the
Yeah, we don't need I don't think we need a motion if everybody's okay with this.
And again, just for timing's sake, if we look at it by our next either meeting within 30 days, then that'd give us plenty of time to get it up to and better.
Yes, it would, Director
Okay.
Harris.
Yeah, as long as there's no timing issues, no reason not to just.
Matt, are you okay?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, whatever the board would like to do.
I do have one question for Emily. Does the election or the change of directors are involved in any of this? Is just mainly a staff review?
So the directors are involved, but it's only in the official capacity only. It's not individually named. So it's not going to refer to
So with the
Director Audrey
election.
Miller. It will just refer to the board members generally.
Okay, because there'll be some changes after. the
Yes.
election. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments from Emily? Yeah, thank you much, Emma.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Moving on, item, the Finance Committee, Director Dias, we'll turn that over to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met last Thursday, and the first item that we discussed and will recommend for full board approval tonight is the check register list. And I will ask our General Manager Newton to present this.
All right, thank you, Director Dias. Good evening, board. So begin on page 23 is the check run for this period. All the items are listed there, but I'll hit a couple of the highlights. So item number one on the first page is our monthly fixed payment to Department of Water Resources for a little over $1.8 million. That's based on our approved statement of charges for the current calendar year. Going on to the second page, item 41 is kind of out of the norm. That's annual payment to Nickel Family LLC. That's associated with the power charges for this calendar year, tied to the nickel supply, which is 1,700 acre feet of imported water, non-state water project water. That payment is a little over $145,000. And just a reminder, our agreement with San Gorgonio Pass Water Agency covers the full reimbursement of this. Item 42, this was approved by the board late last year. Took some time to get this piece of equipment in, but it's a payment for some flocculator motors. This is a replacement capital item. It's just under $56,000. And those are necessary for the treatment process here at the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant. And then we just have a few checks associated with the High Desert Water Bank project. And that's all the highlights I wanted to point out this evening, but happy to answer any questions on any item that may jump out.
Any questions or comments?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve Board Order 8B1. This is Keith.
Second. We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion or comments. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried.
The next item that we discussed was the treasurer's report, and I will ask Finance Manager Yates to present this item.
Okay, thank you, Director Dias. Good evening, directors. I just wanted to mention for the Finance Committee members, the yield to maturity percentages have been corrected on both the staff memo and the total portfolio summary page that's in the board packet. So the average yield to maturity for the total portfolio for July, the corrected yield to maturity is 3.921%, which was up 0.013% from June. The average days to maturity for the total portfolio was 555 days, or approximately 1.5 years. And total cash and investments at July 31st was $174.5 million, which was down $8.5 million from June 30th. And that was due to the DWR capital cost component being paid in July of $8.1 million. And there were also 3 check runs in July. There's usually 2 per month, and July had 3. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Teresa, you're doing too good a job. Make some obvious mistakes in the last
I
one.
did.
Oh.
Got it.
Yeah, definitely.
It was by accident.
Okay, a board order would be in order. A motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Order second.
Okay, we have there's no further comments or questions, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Yeah, thank you, Teresa.
The next item is a purchase order with MCOR Services to replace the HVAC ductwork at the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant. And I will ask Operations Manager Bozigian to present this item.
Thank you, Keith. Good evening, directors. So, as you know, the Quartzville plant was built in, well, there you go. There's the money shot. Plant was built in 1975, Quartzville plant. And it has 5 evaporative coolers for different areas of the plant. and ducting that runs throughout the plant. About 25 years ago, this one evaporative cooler had a major leak, filled up the ducting in the evening when nobody was here. Back then there was no night crew. And we tried to dry it out as best we could, but obviously you can never get ducting completely dry. So over the years, it's been rusting out. We did, as part of the asset replacement budget that was approved, we budgeted, we budgeted $45,000 for this repair. And we went to 3 different local companies to see who would be interested, or 2 locals, Circulating Air and AVEK. MCOR is a little bit out of the area, but they're trying to get inroads to the Antelope Valley. And MCOR Services was the low bid at $39,806 to make this replacement. It's really important. This particular ducting cools the hypochlorite room. So we want to keep that chemical cool so it doesn't degrade. I think about 15, 16 years ago, the whole roof on the plant was replaced. All the evaporative coolers were replaced. So that's all good. You can see that silver ducting is the replacement, and then it joins into the existing metal ducting that was there. So with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any further comments, questions?
Are we going with the lowest bid, John?
We are. Circulating Air was $40,880, so we're about $1,000 lower than Circulating Air was.
Okay. Have we used them before?
We've used Circulating Air at the Roseman plant for quite a few things. And AVEK, who we do use for a lot of things at Quartz Hill, they said the job was just too big for them.
Must be a big job then. On the first picture, now it goes into the wall on each side. They have to go into the wall, and how far in there did it have to be?
This 14-inch thick wall, so they're going to have to cut the ducting out and then put new ducting through.
I don't know how far it goes in, left or right. And on that first picture, it looks like you already put some patches in there.
If you want to go back, I can see.
The first one. Yeah, on the left, that little square thing looks like.
Yeah, I think that was an access door.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and then the bottom on the right looks like you patched it there too. Yeah, right up in there.
It could have been a Band-Aid we put on a long time ago.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Anyway, yeah, it does go through the wall, but they'll just cut it out and put all new ducting through the wall. It does go quite a way either way, Jay. It goes.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, Director Dias, is this acceptable to you?
Yes, it is. In fact, I'll make a motion that we approve Board Order 8B3.
If we have a motion, do we have a second?
Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further questions or comments, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you.
And the final item that we discussed is a professional consulting services agreement with DUDEC for a golden mussel vulnerability assessment. And I'll again ask Operations Manager Bozigian to present this to the board.
Okay, you might have heard about it in the news. It's big news in the state of California. About 2 years ago, DWR discovered golden mussel colonies in the State Water Project. Quite a few up north, and they're working their way down south. And the problem with these golden mussels, if you remember years ago, Milwaukee had a problem with zebra mussels coming out of Lake Michigan, and they're still dealing with that. So they don't go away. You just have to find a way to treat this problem. So what happens is these mussels will attach themselves to the intake structures coming off the aqueduct, and they eventually can block it off. So we thought, we have to take some action here. We can't just wait till it becomes a huge problem. We have discovered some inside the plants, a few on the aqueduct screens, The good news is that the conventional treatment process that we use does kill them, so there's no danger of them getting through the plant. The bad news is, from the aqueduct to the plant, we're vulnerable. They can start plugging up things there. So we called a lot of state water contractors to find out what they're doing. And the general consensus is that this Dudek environmental firm is at the forefront of dealing with vulnerability assessments and mitigation measures for golden mussels. So a lot of people are using this firm. We had several meetings with them. We said we want you to come and do a vulnerability assessment on all of our turnouts and tell us how to control this problem. So their first bid was, I don't know, Matt, it was about 90.
Just over 90,000.
Just over 90,000. And Matt and Justin looked at that and looked at some things that probably were redundant that we didn't need and got them to reduce it to $69,660. And we think that will be money well spent so we can start finding ways to deal with this problem before it becomes a major problem, which eventually it will. And it may be chemical treatment, it may be other things, but they're at the forefront. So staff would recommend going with Dudek Environmental.
Couple questions.
Mm-hmm.
How long will they continue to work with us on this?
Well, their scope of work will just be to do site assessments and then give us what they think are mitigation measures. That's what this contract will be for. If we need them afterwards, I'm sure we would have to sign a different contract, but that's what this first one will be for.
I'm just wondering what their follow-up is.
We could find out, but I think just getting them on site and getting some mitigation measures is going to be key, because whatever they recommend, operations staff can do. We just need the experts to let us know what's the best way so we don't waste money on things that aren't going to work.
Okay. Aren't they working for Palmdale also right now?
They are not working for Palmdale. Palmdale went with Univar. They use a chemical called Earth Tech. It's a copper product, and they're injecting it as the water enters the lake because you can imagine an invasive species in Fin and Feather Lake, what's going to happen to the fish. So they're very concerned about keeping them out of the lake. So they're doing chemical treatment. Problem is you can't do treatment up on the aqueduct. DWR will not let you put chemicals up there. So they're doing it as water enters the lake.
Well, we didn't see this coming 20 years ago.
No, we didn't see a lot of things coming, George. It's one thing after another. Just when you think you're smooth sailing, something pops up. But we'll be ready for it.
Okay, good presentation.
But if DWR won't let any chemicals into the aqueduct, what are they doing with their problems? They've got pumps, they've got stuff, and they've got the muscle there.
Yeah,
so they're going to have to do something.
They will deal with their problems at their pump stations, but they're not dealing with it. For the state water contractors have to deal with their own turnouts.
Yeah, without. Okay.
Yeah,
I understand not putting chemicals into the aqueduct for us to do it, but,
right.
But they have to take care of it on their own thing.
Yeah, they're doing it at their big pump station.
Yeah,
they're taking care of it.
Yeah,
but we're kind of on our own.
Okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, a motion would be in order.
I have one question, Mr. President. They're spending one day looking at this information to create this report. Is that correct?
They're spending, I think, one day on site, but they're gonna spend multiple hours in the office analyzing it. They have I think 5 people coming down. I think the scope of work said, and so they're gonna look at all of our areas, and a lot of our turnouts are similar, so they don't have to look at every single one. But most of their time is going to be spent in the office evaluating the data that they collect here.
So that's the 6 weeks it may take to get the report.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Director Van Dam.
I'll second. Motion there.
We have a
Second.
second.
Me and Audrey will second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. No further discussion. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And that would conclude the Finance Committee report, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We'll move on to item Water Master Groundwater Committee, and it's Director Paris.
I'll turn it over to Matt.
And I'm gonna turn it over to Kyle Wright.
That's
Our
what I
water
thought
resource
would happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Good evening, directors. All right, so this is for consideration and possible action on resolution number R 2633, providing for the disposition of bank stored water in consideration of its receipt of replacement water assessment proceeds. So a quick little background here, the AV State Water Contractors Association and the Water Master entered an agreement in October of 2019 for the purpose of recharging the AV groundwater basin with imported water when producers overpump their available supply. So this water, replacement water essentially offsets the groundwater pumping, helping to prevent any potential further depletion to the groundwater basin. And the volume and location of the replacement water is determined by where the overpumping occurred. So in that map on the upper left there, you'll see those green spots there. That's where the overpumping occurred. And then the red outline is AVEK service area. And that little green right there towards the middle bottom there, that's Little Rock Creeks. And then blue is Palmdale Water District. So as you can see, most of the pumping occurred in AVEK service area. So the Water Master submitted a replacement water request to the association for 550.19 acre feet in exchange for the corresponding RWA fees, which totaled $327,697.25. AVEK will provide 536.09 acre feet of replacement water from Upper Amargosa, Westside Water Bank, and Little Rock Creek Recharge Site in exchange for $319,132.72. And that breakdown, it can be seen right there in that table in your upper right. So it's a recommendation to approve the resolution. I get that right? Yeah, 2633. Any questions?
Yeah, could we use our carryover rights instead of Amargosa Creek?
That would be,
No,
we cannot do that.
the judgment requires that if a party pays a replacement water assessment, that those funds have to be used towards importing water to the basin. So we're kind of forced by the judgment to utilize imported water to satisfy a replacement water obligation.
Mr. President, I'll move approval of resolution number R 2623.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Jay, the motion and second. Man, I'm just trying to understand this. Have we done this yearly?
Yes, we have. Every time we've exchanged funds for replacing or releasing water to the basin, we've documented it in a resolution very similar to this one.
And that'll be done by Palmdale, there, Amargosa?
Palmdale is providing their 14 acre feet through Little Rock Creek Recharge.
Where's this facility, where's it gonna be recharged at?
The deductions will be from Upper Amargosa Creek, Westside Water Bank, and Little Rock Creek.
Okay.
So it's water that has already been recharged. We're simply doing an accounting of that water.
Okay, very well. Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Madam Secretary?
Can I clarify too that that's R 2623, as Rob said? There's a typo in the presentation that says 33, but it's R 2623.
That was my fault.
Thanks. Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item here for the reviewing the agenda for the Water Master meeting scheduled for tomorrow, August 26th. We have 3 new production well applications. First one's for Elpidia Hernandez for 1/2 acre foot a year in the central Antelope sub area, and that's to provide for single family residence on a 2.5 acre lot. And the engineer finds negligible material injury, and the advisory committee has recommended approval, pending future consideration from the Water Master regarding future subsidence, water quality, and proximity to LA County water districts on future applications due to the location. Second is for Daniel Tripke for 1 acre foot a year in the West Antelope sub area, also for single family residence with a couple garages, a little bit of landscaping. The engineer finds negligible material injury, and the advisory committee has unanimously approved this one. Third, for Maria Zamora for 0.7 acre foot a year in the central Antelope sub area, single family residence with some landscaping. Negligible material injury was deemed by the engineer, and the advisory committee unanimously approved this one. And it's a recommendation to support these, the approval of these applications as they are no impact to AVEK's operation.
You're not gonna get too many fruit trees unless they'll make your foot right there, but you know.
Yeah, yeah, you may want to relook at that one.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any further questions, comments?
All right, we'll go on to the transfer applications here. The first one is for AVEK to LA County B40 for 2,594.07 acre feet lease of production right. And this would satisfy our 2026 lease obligation based on the agreement made in 2015. And this is for future use once LA County gets their new wells drilled, when that happens. The engineer recommends approval of the application, and the advisory committee recommends approval with the request to incorporate some more specific language in Todd Groundwater's recommendation letter, which has already been included and is ready for the meeting. The second is Burroughs 300A40H LLC to Usman Project 1 LLC. That's for 1 acre foot of production right and 15 acre feet of one-time carryover. And this is, so Usman Project 1 is the first phase of a planned lithium battery storage site that will store electricity from the grid. And it's for investment purposes right now, and they must intervene in the judgment. And the engineer recommends approval of the application, and the advisory committee unanimously approved this one. The third is very similar, just another phase of the project, labeled Usman Project LLC. This is for 1 acre foot of production right and 25 acre foot one-time carryover. And again, this is another phase of the project, battery storage project for investment purposes. They must intervene with the judgment, and engineer recommends approval of the application, and the advisory committee unanimously approved this one. A recommendation to support approval of these applications. Any questions on these ones?
Kyle, what type of business is this?
The Usman project, that's a lithium ion battery storage site. And they're supposed to store about 1,150 megawatts of electricity from the grid.
What was the location of that?
I think it was 170th Western Avenue A. Is that what it was? Roseman Bowl.
The big solar area.
Is that the one that was presented a few years ago? That was up off of
Me.
Tehachapi Tropico, Tehachapi Road.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
I thought in listening to the advisory committee that they didn't have a point of a location for this yet, that it's just a water transfer.
I think we deem that they have the property, they just don't know where they're gonna drill. That's the way
Where they're
I read
gonna
it.
drill the area.
Yeah. No location? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard, that there was no, that it's just a water transfer at this.
Well, that makes sense for investment purposes, and once they figure it out, then act on that.
Okay,
They said they're gonna drill new on the first one. It says, LA County Water District number 4, they're gonna drill new wells. Are those replacement wells, or are they gonna drill new well?
So those would be new point of extraction. So that would be
Adding more well?
new. Yeah, I would be adding new wells. Yeah, okay. Adding new wells, and then in which case they would have to get new point of extraction or an M&I conducted.
Yeah, then, yeah, it's already limited so much water out, but they're gonna put big new wells in to take more out now.
Right, and that's where the material injury comes in.
Yeah, good night.
okay,
And next slide, please. We have, for non-production well applications, we have 10 monitoring well applications for waste management at the Pondale landfill. And these wells were requested by the Lahontan Regional Water Quality Control Board for the north side of their site. And these will be used to better define the groundwater levels and flows at the landfill, and to kind of evaluate the influence that the fault line has on the groundwater flow. And groundwater pumped is expected to be less than a 1/4 acre foot a year, so it's not subject to material injury analysis under the judgment. And the advisory committee unanimously approved this one. A recommendation to support approval of this application, or all 10 applications, I should say.
okay.
And that's all I have.
You were, Matt, we need a board order for 8C1, is that correct?
8C1, and we already got that.
Okay, that's done.
We voted on that.
Did we vote on that already?
Yeah.
Yep, we already voted on 8C1, and 8C2 does not need a motion.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Kyle. Okay, moving on to item number D, Executive Committee. Matt, we'll turn that over to you.
All right, thank you, President Lane. So the item this evening is consideration and possible action to authorize the general manager and legal counsel to prepare a binding agreement that would come back for board authorization or approval, which is consistent with the Water Banking Exchange Program term sheet between AVEK and Santa Clara Valley Water District. So just to reiterate that we're not looking to formally approve the program, just give authorization for us to draft the agreement that's consistent with the term sheet that we're going to go over this evening. So we'll start with a map here just to orient everybody with where Santa Clara Valley Water District is located. You can see there on the top left of the map. Their service area is outlined in blue. They're up in the San Jose region, just south of the bay, and just west of San Luis Reservoir. The blue line is the State Water Project. It moves water from north to south. And then obviously you can see the AVEK service area there. And this would be important because as we talk through how the program would work, it's good to have a visual of where everybody's located. So next slide. All right, so program purpose and parameters. The concept is pretty straightforward. This is a kind of a hybrid of a water banking agreement and an exchange agreement. And we have the exchange component because that's physically how we get water back to Valley Water based on where they're located. So the terms would be that Valley Water would transfer to AVEK up to 5,000 acre feet per year. And then AVEK would deliver that water to the Antelope Valley for banking in our, most likely the West Side Water Bank facility, where we have capacity and storage capability. They would be able to store up to 20,000 acre feet over the 10-year term of the agreement. And that 20,000 acre feet is after losses. So you can see the next two line items there. There's going to be the one-time 10% loss that all banking projects or banking supplies take a loss on, and that's a water master requirement, the one-time 10% loss. In addition to that one-time 10% loss to the water master or to the basin, there'd be a one-time 10% water compensation to AVEK. So we would get 10% of every acre foot that they deliver of their water to the valley for storage. Then on the annual return, which would happen through an exchange, AVEK would take ownership of their stored water supply, and then we would transfer either our San Luis carryover water or Table A water for that year up to 5,000 acre feet until all the water that is stored is returned to Valley Water.
Could you repeat that? Table A or what else?
Or water we have stored in San Luis Reservoir. So how the storage nets out, so they could deliver or transfer up to 25,000 acre feet over the term. 2,500 acre feet would go to the basin, as a loss. AVEK would net 2,500 acre feet out of that 25,000 acre feet. So that the balance is 20,000 acre feet of stored water for Valley. And the exchange capability would begin 2 years after execution of the agreement. And we would only return via an exchange up to the amount that they have in storage, but maximum amount is 5,000 acre feet per year. Next slide. So I kind of talked through this, but just step by step how the program will work. As mentioned, Valley will notify AVEK by June 1st of each year whether they want to transfer up to 5,000 acre feet to AVEK. AVEK would receive that water through the State Water Project. That water would be delivered to AVEK's water banking facilities. All the losses would apply. Then AVEK would credit Valley Water the remaining balance of stored water, and that balance could grow up to 20,000 acre feet over the 10-year period. And then step 4 would be the return. So let's say it's a below average year and Valley wants the water back that they have stored. AVEK would take ownership of an equal amount in storage here in the basin.
Look at the timer. What? Are you seriously going to do that?
We would transfer an equal amount in San Luis or through our Table A.
No.
Next slide.
Hey, come. Where are you going? Bye-bye, Dick.
So there's an important factor that staff wanted to protect AVEK's imported water supply during dry years. So in a 0 to 4% State Water Project allocation year, there's no obligation to return water to Valley. So we would be protected in that regard. And then if it was a 5% to 9% State Water Project allocation year, we would return up to 2,000 acre feet, so a minimal amount, and preserving the rest of AVEK's State Water Project supplies for our own use in the Valley. And then this kind of grows up to 15% or greater. That's when we would return up to 5,000 acre feet if allocation is 15% or greater. And again, they would have to notify us by June 1st of each calendar year whether they want that return water or not. And that works well for our annual water supply planning. Next slide. So the program term is 10 years. so that we get this term sheet gives Valley 10 years to not only put water into storage, but also get the water out through an exchange. And we wanted to make it specific to a 10-year term because we do not want Valley to have the ability to store water over 10 years and then extend the term to beyond 10 years and just wait for a dry year. We want to see the economic value to AVEK and water compensation to AVEK. We want the water to go into storage so we get compensated, and we want the water returned so we can take ownership of the banked water here and generate the revenue on the return side. So the agreement will be pretty specific that they've got to do everything they can, even if the allocations are higher in those later years of the 10-year term, to get the water back or returned to them. There would be a provision that we could meet and confer if they still have some water in storage, how we can get that water back to them if we're running up against the 10-year term. And that some examples of that could be AVEK could buy the water from them, or if we're working on a bigger, longer term water banking program with Valley, that stored water could simply roll into the long-term water banking agreement. Next slide. So here's the money shot, as John would say. So these are the costs and the return fees associated with the program. So for every acre foot that gets transferred to AVEK and put into storage, we would collect $175 per acre foot. And that's after the 10% loss to the basin. There's a state water project variable cost. As you know, it's currently about $225 per acre foot to move the water from the Delta to the Antelope Valley. Valley Water would reimburse AVEK for that transportation cost. And this is important because when we take ownership of their banked water, we're avoiding that transportation cost. You know, we've essentially paid nothing for the stored water here. Didn't cost AVEK customers any money. And then where we're returning water to them, either at Banks Pumping Plant or San Luis Reservoir, it only cost us $17 per acre foot to get the water into San Luis. So we would pay that cost. So we're basically netting over $200 per acre foot of the stored water. There's a value to the 10% water that they're giving to AVEK. In this chart, we didn't put a value on that, but that's net water to AVEK. And then on the right, you can see the fees that we collect when we return the water to Valley. So it's a sliding scale. The low allocation, we're going to make $400 per acre foot on every acre foot that we return to them. And that goes up to 25% allocation or greater. The fee goes down to $250 per acre foot. So down the bottom, you can see the net value to AVEK. It's anywhere from $13.8 million to $16.5 million plus 2,500 acre feet of new supply. And why the range? It's because of that sliding scale on the top right chart where the return fee varies based on the state water project allocation. And this is assuming that the full 20,000 acre feet is utilized over 10 years. If for some reason that, they put 20 in, they get 20 back, and then they do the cycle again over the 10-year period, these numbers could be double. But this is a conservative estimate, pretty good value to AVEK with the added water supply and the avoided transportation cost to AVEK. Next slide. I think that was about it. So again, what we're asking for tonight is the board to kind of discuss the term sheet and give direction to staff to finalize a definitive agreement that we could bring back for board approval or consideration. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments?
I had one question on that 15% or up to 25%. How often, it looks like it'd be around 15%, wouldn't it?
May go back.
As far as let's go back.
This one here, or?
Yeah, greater than 25%. How often has our recharge, not our recharge, but our state water been above that 25%?
Yeah, it's
We don't,
more often than not, it's above 25%.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we stand a pretty good chance of having that amount.
Yeah, probably. Unless, we get a string of dry years and the allocation's lower, then we would net a little bit more money in those return years.
And then after 10 years, would we do a renewal with them? Or would we redo the whole agreement?
I think we could use the 10 years to see how this program works with them. If both parties are happy with the way it progressed, we could extend it or enter into a new agreement with new terms, or switch gears and just have them be part of a true water banking program.
But we're not locked into any of that?
No.
Okay.
This is strictly a 10-year term based on the volumes and capacities that I outlined.
So really it's 12 years because of the 2 years.
Where do you see 2 years?
Well, weren't we talking 13 years originally? So,
no, it's a true 10-year program, but they won't be able to exercise the return option
right
until 2 years into the 10-year deal.
Right. So
maybe that's what you're thinking.
Yeah. So it's a 12-year.
No, it's a true 10 year.
10 years, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I can't get it right.
Yeah.
Okay, any further comments or questions?
Mr. President, just real quick, I think this, our staff has worked incredibly hard on this program. Santa Clara was the first real trading partner we had with AVEK with our water transfers many years ago. I know you and Keith certainly remember. And this is a very creative program that I think is excellent for our agency and our taxpayers. So really think we should give a lot of credit to our staff for coming up with this program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything further?
It seems very profitable, but the water, if they take the water, we give it to them from the dam. That's solid water right there. Getting it out of the ground for us seems a little bit more difficult than them, having just actual water right here. In the ground, we can't see. We don't know exactly if you'll get it all out. If it's going to be what's going to happen. And then you said something about banking for them. They could get it. You could send them a check for the water. You said they get it from the dam. I said anything about some kind of bank up there.
Oh, I might have mentioned the Banks pumping plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the pumping plant that moves water from the Delta into the State Water Project.
Not a bank.
It's not a bank, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
As I mentioned, earlier, financially, this makes, sense. It's good for the agency. But as far as trading table A water for bank water, that doesn't make sense. But we don't need the bank water. We have plenty of the bank water and plenty reason our capacity up. But the financial portion of it, I think, overshadows the other part.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be using our table A, and we get bank water from them, and that's not near as valuable to us.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would support it since dollar-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah. And we also have, presently, we also have the option as part of our annual water supply planning. We'll always ensure that we have plenty of water in San Luis that would cover any exchange obligations under this agreement. Now, I know you're going to say San Luis, risk of spilling from year to year, but if you look at history of we'll have the water in San Luis as a backup. If San Luis spills, it's typically because it's a wet year and it's highly unlikely that San Luis will spill and a low allocation year. So I think based on the parameters that we've outlined in the program, AVEK is pretty protected, and the flexibility that we have to provide either table A or San Luis carryover water.
That helps.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mr. President? Yeah, I move approval of board order 8E1. Is that, you wanted that direction tonight?
Correct.
motion by.
And the direction or the board or the language is listed there on the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Parrish.
Second.
We have a second, Director Van Dam. If there's no further questions or comments, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yeah.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good job on that, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go right back to you.
All right, I have just a few things. No water supply updates this meeting. We'll have that at the next board meeting. Next slide, Holly. So just some upcoming meetings. As mentioned, we have the Water Master meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. here at AVEK. We're on Zoom. Next week, we have a bid opening for what we call Clearwell number 1, Clearwell number 2 recoding project that is currently out to bid. And those are not wells. Those are welded steel storage tanks here at the Quartz Hill Water Treatment Plant. So there are 2 9 million gallon storage reservoirs that the coating, both interior and exterior, needs attention on those tanks. So we're going to open bids publicly on the 2nd at 2 p.m. We have Labor Day holiday coming up on the Monday the 7th. And just a reminder, the Special Districts Association of Northern or North LA County is having their luncheon at the AV Fairgrounds on September 8th at 11:30 a.m. And I believe a lot of our representatives are going to be there. Whitesides, state representatives.
Assemblymember Carrillo, Assemblymember Shivo. I think we're waiting on confirmation from Assemblyman Lackey, but I believe Senator Vidars is going to be there as well.
And I think Catherine Barger is going to be there as well.
Yep.
So
Do we have a table for that?
all we need is a ticket. We don't need by tables. So if you want to let Holly know, get you signed up. There's no cost to that.
Okay.
So. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Okay, is there any questions from Matt? Director's reports. Attorney report.
God bless Dolly Parton.
Amen.
Never mind.
Amen.
I'll second that, but no report.
Okay. Request for future agenda items. No need for a closed session, is that correct, Matt?
Correct.
Mr. President,
Okay.
I'll move adjournment.
Okay, we have a motion. Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yeah.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Everyone have a good evening.
All right. Thank you.